Welcome back to Flex and Guts by Moxie Weld. I'm Moxie, your host of Metalsmith. If you're new to the channel, this channel is all about metalsmithing, welding, tips and tricks, fun projects, shop talk, and so much more. So stick around, let's see what we got. Alright, so we're going to be swapping out the wire on this Lincoln SP135 Plus 110 MIG welding machine. We're going to be putting in NR211MP inner shield flux core wire. It's a 030 diameter wire, so small enough for this little guy to handle. And yeah, let's get to it. Okay, so before we get started, just a heads up, how we're going to be changing the wire in this machine is going to be step-by-step, pretty similar to changing the wire on any other MIG welding machine, which is awesome. Keeps it simple. The only difference between this MIG welder and other machines, and you'll see as I bring the camera in for a close-up, but the spool parts are different. I didn't have them at first, so I kind of jimmy rigged this whole section, and while I was waiting for the parts to come in, I had just been welding it with it set up like this, which has worked out perfect. It welds beautifully, so I never got around to putting the actual parts on. This is going to be pretty much the only difference. Other than that, everything else is going to be pretty much the same, so you can go ahead and apply everything we're going to learn today to whatever other MIG welding machine you're using. Alright, so first we're going to take off the nozzle and the tip. Well, my tip just kind of came along with the nozzle, but yeah, usually it's, let's see. So there's that, and I don't know if you can, yeah, kind of see that. This is why it always helps to have a Leatherman handy. Alright, so we got our contact tip, we got our nozzle. Alright, you take that stuff off so that your wire is free. Alright, so clearly you can see I have the MIG gun pulled out mostly straight, and then you have a good look in here where the spool's at. So for me, I take the wing nut off, loosen up that nut, and then if you take the tensioner off completely, so that's all nice and open. My welder's sitting at an angle, so that just keeps closing, but there's no tension on the wire whatsoever. And then because you have the, oh my goodness, the contact tip and the nozzle off, you don't have to worry about the wire getting hung up on anything. And you can actually just spin it back on here. If there's nothing here, you don't have to worry about it, but you can just pull the spool off, pull the wire out, and throw it away. Every now and then I use the wire for different things, so I'll keep a little bit, but it's usually like one little baby spool like that with a little bit of wire left. I don't like to keep a lot because then you become a pack rat and then it just doesn't look good. Alright, so there we go. And just keep a nice tight hand on it. If you let go, it's going to bird's nest on you. That's something you always want to keep in mind. So take your hardware off, pull your wire off the spool. So this is what I was talking about. I just got a aluminum plate, cut a hole in it, and I messed up right there, but it was fine. And then I drilled and tapped for that screw, and that holds my spool on there perfectly. And then there you go. So you got that. You can put your wire through one of those holes. Again, keep tension on it, and then just do something like that, and there you go. Now you have, you know, your empty spool with a little bit of wire left on it if you want to use it for anything, or you can just throw it away. So once you have it all empty and cleared out, if you're in a shop or if you have access to any kind of air nozzle or something of the sort, I know you can even get like the small cans of like the compressed air. You can use it to clean your keyboard or whatever. I like to use any kind of air to clean off all the gunk in here. At home, I don't have access to like compressed air, so this is just like an air blower for detailing cars. So I've blown it out. I didn't want to do it on here and get like a bunch of stuff, you know, shooting in my face or whatever. But definitely clean it out. You can actually blow out your entire liner for your lead, which is a good habit to get into when you're, anytime you change out your wire. If you change out your liner, if you change out your wire, just be in a habit of cleaning it out. It helps it last longer. And you know, you take care of your equipment, it'll take care of you, type of thing. So yeah, it's just something to keep in mind. I like to wipe it down as well. Sometimes I get a lot of grime on there. I'm not going to do a full cleaning just for time's sake on the video. But I haven't touched this welder in a while, so I know it needs some serious TLC. I'll probably have to do that off film after I'm done shooting this, actually. Alright, so this is a different spool. This one's bigger. This is a 10-pound spool. It's the exact same wire, the NR211MP inner shield flux core 030 wire. That's just way too stinking long, so we're just gonna go with 030 flux core wire, because yeah, we ain't gonna say that again. But because it is a bigger spool, our lovely little Jimmy rig bad boy is not gonna work. It just works with that. So that's when you put your original piece, manufactured piece, back on there, and then you want to make sure that your wire is going to feed like directly into the lead. You don't want it to be kinked in any way. You want it to, sometimes your rollers will be up here, so you want your wire to come straight into it. My rollers are down below, so I want my wire to come straight into it. I don't want my wire to come up, over, and then bending to come down into the rollers. You want everything to be as straight as possible. If you have any kinks, you're gonna have issues. So I'm sitting on the floor. Let's move over. All right, so we're gonna go ahead and pop that on, and then just be very careful with the wire. If you let go, it'll bird's nest on you. It'll just like start unwinding like so fast. So for those of you that are new and aren't familiar with the term bird's nesting, just don't let go of your wire. If you do, you'll see exactly why they call it bird's nesting. So I like to keep it nice and tight. Make sure you're cutting on the right side, because again, if you cut below your fingers, you'll lose tension and it'll bird's nest on you. So cut on the right side. I like cutting it so I have a nice clean cut there, that there's nothing like that's weird or off or bent that's gonna snag or get caught on anything. And then this is what I'm talking about right here. You don't want the wire, if it were flipped the other way, the wire would be coming up and over, and you don't want that. You want it to go straight into your rollers. So pulling it back, keeping your hand on it so it doesn't come undone on you, and then hopefully that'll stay open for a bit. Mine's getting a little crooked. Let's see if I can move the camera so you can get a better shot. So I don't know how well you guys can see that in there. So my wire is kind of like off, keeps wanting to go off to the side from where it needs to be. I don't know if you can see where it's hitting off on the side. So very cautiously, this is a little more challenging because I'm working around the camera. All right, got it in. Then you can go ahead and close that. Throw your tensioner up on there. I like to loosen it up a bit, just while I feed a little bit more through. Okay, And then once I get it past in here, snug it up a little. And then the welder's already nice and plugged in. So just turn the welder on. Okay. And then go ahead and start running the wire. I'm gonna pull over here a little bit just so I can see. So what you could do too is turn your wire speed all the way up. Every now and then, depending on which welding machine you have, you'll have a button in here that says jog, and it'll have a little wire symbol, which is like a little circle, line, circle. And then you can just jog it from here and leaving your lead straight. You don't have to watch it or whatever. That works great, but not all welders have that. So this guy, we have to do it old school, pulling the trigger on the MIG gun. But I'm just gonna go ahead and turn our wire speed all the way up. All right, so that didn't take long at all. The wire came right through, no snags, no problems. That kind of came off. I'll fix that. I forgot to put the nut on there. Yeah, that'll be good. Tensioner, make sure you turn your wire back down. You don't want your wire blasting out when you go to use it again. Once you have your wire sticking out, go ahead and put your contact tip back on. And then your nozzle. There you go. Now, because this is flux cord wire, that means it's hollow inside, so you can technically just break off the wire. You don't technically need to snip it. So you break off the wire and then and you're good to go. Thank you so much for watching. If you'd like to see more, please hit the buttons down below, like and subscribe. Down in the description is the link to my Instagram, so follow me on Instagram and check out some different pictures that I don't normally make videos about, so you can get a little bit more in depth of what I do. And be MOXILICIOUS. Do something different, do something that scares you, do something that challenges you. Get out there and have that Moxie and be MOXILICIOUS. So I'll see you guys next Monday.